guys, Matt here, and welcome back to another episode. Today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how to reinstall System Center Configuration Manager 1806. Now, as you guys can see, I'm remotely logged on to my server, and at the moment, we've deployed over to our new domain, which is rockwood.mynetgear.com. However, System Center will not allow me to relog on to it through the site, as it's a home.local. So we've had to change domains, but unfortunately it won't allow it. After some research and things like that, I was unable to. We're going to do a quick main system backup, or snapshot. We won't call it backup, we'll call it snapshot. Like that, take snapshot. As you can see, we'll just let that quickly run. And then from there, we will then launch the console, and then we'll start the install completely from scratch. And also at the same time, this is a great opportunity to show you guys how to install System Center 1816 I meant, or 1802. I can't remember exactly what one it was. I think it's 2016. I'm just going to confirm that now by going into my Explorer, and then I've got a special folder on our system for that. So let's go here, and then this is all the videos that I work on are in these folders here. Yeah, it was 1802, not 2016. It was 1802. Sorry about that. So the snapshot's still in place, but what we've done is I've got the prerequisite installment here. I've then got links to all the resources that I used, which are in here. And what I'm going to do is also provide those and link them all in the description with a project folder to GitHub. So all of these, my project folder will be on GitHub from now on. So all the projects I do, I will provide links and PowerPoints and videos for your convenience. So as you can see here now, the snapshot's completed successfully. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go like this. We're going to now send, we're going to give it a removable drive, and what we're going to do from there is we are going to put a fresh copy of Server 2016 on here. I'm starting to phase in all my servers to Server 2016, however it's just a little bit inconvenient sometimes for that case. So I'll just pull up an image now. Okay, Windows 2016 Feb, there it is. Okay, so now I've got that installed, and all we're going to simply do now is we're going to power, and then we're going to restart the guest. From there, it will restart, and now we just wait. So yeah, again, I've gone ahead, we're going to reinstall Server 2016. I've taken the snapshot of it, and now we're going to reboot on it before it... There we go, cool, I'm into the BIOS. So all we're going to do now is we're going to go to the virtual disk on VMware, the SATA CD-ROM. Then all we're going to do is we'll then say any key to boot from the CD or DVD, which we've now done. So now we're going to go ahead and reinstall Server 2016. Now this is actually, funny enough, this server is all the way in my house, about 25 kilometers away. I'm now at a work location. So this is software that I'm using. It allows me to access these servers remotely anywhere I want to 24/7. And I'll be showing you how to do that in another video, which will be quite exciting. Now it's almost about to hit 3:15, so when it hits 3:15 I'm going to have to stop because of timing and things like that. But we'll continue this video on from a process for a while, and that way we can go ahead and install it. Oh, my battery's at 97%. Fingers crossed it is fully charged when I finish recording. So again, it's just going to load files and it's going to boot into Windows. And funny enough, this install meter is actually on a network server. And it's booting incredibly quick because there's Cat6 all over the place in there. So the server that I showed you, this is actually what it's accessing right now. Alright, so here we go, Windows Server 2016. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select Australia as our English installer. But I have to go down a few. With the newer installers, you've got quite a few new languages that weren't there before. We're going to click Next now, and we're going to click Install now. And then we'll go through the basic setup process. Now the difference between this image and the one that you'll have with Microsoft is this one is not an evaluation. This is a volume licensing agreement, ISO. And that's why it's coming up with I don't have a product key at the moment. We'll select that because I'm going to activate it after. And then this way it's a volume licensing one. So as you can see here, I've got standard and data center. We want to go for the desktop experience of standard. And then all I'm going to do now is click Next. I'm going to go ahead and format this drive completely, wipe it, and reinstall it from scratch. Okay, so it is now 8:15 and the installation is about to commence. So I did go ahead and run all the prerequisites off Capture, and some reasons for this was because it took an awful long time, but I have provided some information and some links down below and what I used, and also my review log and notes that I've done as well for your convenience. So what we're going to go ahead now and do is we're going to do the normal routine. We're going to click install and we'll go through the normal process. Just FYI, I am using SQL 2014 in this environment, and I've ran the prerequisites here, which will be all linked in the description again. So again, we're just going to go through all of this stuff here, so I'll let you read through that really quickly. So before you begin, run this wizard, verify that you have a supported SQL version. We do. We know what the SQL server is, confirm that this meets this requirements, and then I could read that, so I'll have that open just in case. So now we're going to click Next, and we're going to go and install this as a primary site, meaning that this is where everything goes to. We'll use a typical installation, and let's just have a look here. So use a typical installation option. And no, we do not use a typical installation option. So we're now going to click Next. Now, I would go ahead and put in a license agreement to this. However, I'm not going to. I'm just going to use an evaluation, which will be for a full 180 days, as I'm doing a lot of testing environments and things like that. So we're going to do that. We're going to click Next. We're going to accept the license terms to all three, like that. We'll then click Next, and we are going to put it on the C drive. So this is where we'll put our requisites. So I'm just going to create a new folder in the C drive. And we'll let that download. So this will take some time, and then once that's done, we'll go back to this part. It shouldn't take too long, fingers crossed. Okay, so after about 30 minutes of waiting, the configuration files have downloaded. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're just going to select English as our setup language, and we're just going to make sure that all these other ones are deselected for this moment. Purely because I don't think that anyone else will be using any of these other languages. So now I'm going to click Next. Again, I don't want to use any of these languages for the client language selection. And now this is the fun part. This is where we get to go ahead and configure the actual site. So I'm going to do MPAL, and I'll call this MPAL Solutions, which is my company's name. So we're then going to do that, and then now we're going to click Next. We're going to install this primary, I'm trying to think. I think it was this one. I'm just going to confirm with my notes right now. And yep, we do want to install this as a primary site and a standalone site. We'll click Next on that one. And yes. And now we'll configure this one. We're going to leave the instance name as that, and then this is the database name. So we leave all of these settings as default. Click Next. And Next again. And then this is it. This here is the configuration. Or the SMS. I'm just going to go back up here again. Okay, now I'm going to click Next. All sites will accept. We're just going to do this here because we don't have a HTTPS encryption key for it, so we're going to have it unencrypted. We're then going to go here and we're going to select Next again. We're going to leave all as default, and then we're going to click Next. Yeah, so this is just talking about how it's going to collect usage data and things like that. So we're going to click Next again. Now this is keeping it up to date, but we're going to click this skip for now. And then finally we'll click Begin. We'll click Next, and then we'll click Next again because this is just giving us a summary. We'll click Next. It will run a prerequisite check. I have got, so the schema extensions, for some reason it doesn't think it is, but it is. It isn't, but I will check if it, because it definitely is. It's just giving me warnings here. Apparently doesn't have enough SQL memory. I haven't configured it for that. It's just a lot of warnings, but as long as there's warnings and not, as long as there isn't complete errors, then I can go ahead and begin the install. It's just some things that need to be configured. These are just warnings that can be, yeah. I'm going to have to configure the scammer extensions, which I'll have a look at later. But now I'm going to click Begin Install, and that will now install it. I'm going to click View Log, and then this will show me every time what it's doing, and then it will start editing on it. So brilliant. And we'll just let that go ahead and set it up. This will take some time, so I'll pause the video, and I'll be right back once it's finished. Alright guys, so it's the next day after. I do apologise. It just got too late in the end, and it got about 2 o'clock in the end, so I just had to stop recording. But it's the next day, and the Configuration Manager console, as you can see here, is now installed. So we're going to go ahead and open that up for the first time. But there is some configuring that we do need to do. We have installed it, yes, but there's still a few things that need to be configured. For example, we need to set up a boundary group, we need to set up a distribution point, and we need to make sure that actually everything is ticked off the list and is functioning correctly. So we're going to do that right now, but obviously, hopefully, fingers crossed, this does work. I did leave it with my dad last night to monitor it for me. So fingers crossed he's done that for. So unable to check for updates, and we know that for a fact because we have skipped updates, which is what we're about to set up and do. So as you can see here, we've got the evaluation for 180 days. It's connected to the site that we created, MPA, or MPAL Solutions as I called it. And now all it's going to do is it's just going to start loading and set up its defaults. I've also set up the scammer extensions as well to be sure that everything is functioning correctly. Okay, as you can see here, here it is loaded for the first time, and that is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, now that we've got it actually installed, we need to start configuring it. Now I've got to pull back to my notes again. Okay, so I've just pulled up my setting up notes. So what we're going to need to do is first off and set up a discovery and a boundary group. So that's important, and we need to make sure that this is done. So the first things first is we need to do the Active Directory Forest discovery. So again, we're going to open up the console here, and we'll go ahead and create a boundary group. So we'll go into our administration. We're going to go to Discovery Methods. If I can find it, here we go. Under Hierarchy Configuration. We're then going to go Discovery Methods. We're going to then right-click on the, let me just confirm which one that is, Active Directory Forest Discovery. And first and foremost, we're going to enable it. So we're going to click Enable, and we're going to select everything. We're then going to select Automatically Create Active Directory Site Boundaries when they are discovered, and Automatically Create IP Address Range Boundaries for IP subnets when they are discovered. We're going to run this every 1 hour. That way, it will just make life easy. And then we're going to click Yes, OK, and then we're going to click Yes to that. We're just going to set up the Active Directory Group Discovery now. So again, we're going to do the same policy as before, but this is a little bit different. So first and foremost, we need to click Add, and then it is a group. Have I got that right? Yep, we did. I'm just trying to think. Let me just confirm that. Just going to make sure I did get that right. Nope, sorry, tell a fat lie. We're going to add a directory location, and I'm going to call this, we can just browse for it because it's going to drive me mad. So, again, we're going to do all of the, we're going to go under, because I've got my domain system set up in a very cool way, but all I'm going to do is click on Systems, and then I've got servers completely linked differently. It's only systems I want linked, and I'm going to call this main AD discovery. You can call it anything you like. And then what I'm going to then do from that is we're then going to use the server's computer account, and then finally click OK on that, and then enable Active Directory Group Discovery. We're then going to go to the polling schedule from there, and then we're going to leave everything as default, apart from one thing. We are going to go here and we're just going to click on the schedule. 1998 is the default date, but as again, you'll probably want to start it as of today's date. So we're going to go there. At not 12 AM, we're going to do that week custom interval. So every 1 day, I'm going to set that to, and this is where you can play around with it, your discovery. And then I'm going to make this start at 6 o'clock today, or 6 PM. And then from there, I'm going to click OK. And then after that, I'm going to go into the options, and I'm going to select all 3 of them. And then finally, we're going to click OK, and then we're going to click Yes to run a full discovery. So now that is done, we should be pretty much finished. I'm just going to confirm if there's anything else we need to do. We're going to do the Active Directory System discovery now. So we're going to click on that one. Again, we're going to enable it. And from there, we'll just continue on. We're then going to go to this little icon here, and then we're going to add the path. And then again, we're going to browse to that path, and we're going to select the home.local main again. So only the things in my main OU will be detected. Nothing else will be. And the reason for that is because I don't want my servers being detected, one, but two, I don't also want other systems on the network being detected. So now that is done, I'm going to click OK. I'm just going to make sure I've just quickly edited these properties in here. I'm just going through my notes here at the moment. Yes, we're going to click OK to that. Then we're going to go to the Options tab, and we're going to have all of these selected on. And then finally, we'll then click OK, and then we'll click OK to click Yes to start the full discovery. Now we're going to do the user discovery. So we have to keep doing these all by default. Again, we're going to enable this one, and then we're going to select our path, and then that will be again in a different path this time. I'm going to put it in under our Rockwood here, and then under users, and then from there that will do that one. We're going to leave the settings as default, and then we'll click OK. And then click OK, and then run the discovery as soon as possible. So now we're going to set up our boundaries. So we're going to go to boundaries here. This is very important. So we need to add the boundary group. That way our boundaries are discovered. So as you can see, we've got the default first site name here, but we're going to create a boundary group under here. Now it's got a default site one, but I'm going to call this one. We'll probably delete that one. So what I'm going to call this one, I'm going to call this boundary group 1. If I could spell, that'd be great. Like that. And then finally the file, and then we'll click OK. And then we're going to add to the boundary group our first site name. There we go. We're going to click Apply. But I'm just going to go to the references here. And then we're going to click Use this boundary group here. And then finally, I'm going to add in the site servers. So in this case, it is deploy01. Okay, now that we've got it all configured and connected, we're going to click Add, and then we're going to click OK. Now we've got boundary group 1. So that's the first part that's done. I'm just going to pull up the next bit now. If I can find it, that'd be good. Stage 2. Might just quickly pull back my notes. Okay, just bear with me as I'm going through my other notes. So next thing that we need to do is set up the site and the system roles. So we'll be setting up the System Center 1802 in this case. And so again, we'll need some system roles. So why do we actually need this? It's because the site system role is added to extend the management functionality of the site. So basically, if you want to be able to manage a particular type of object within SCCM, we need to install a site system role for it. And the most common roles that you install, and the ones that I'm going to be demonstrating to you today, will be the Application Catalog Website Point, Application Web Service Point, and the Fallback Status Point. There are quite a few different site system roles available, but you don't need to install all of them from start. So, again, I'm just going to go down through my notes, and so again, we're going to start adding the system roles. So we're going to go to our site configuration here, and we're going to click on Sites. We have our primary site here, which is MPAL Solutions. We're then going to click on that. We're going to go to Site, and then we're going to click Add System Roles. This screen resolution is bugging me a bit. No. Okay. So, we're going to go through all of this, and I'm going to start reading everything through my notes here again. It's very important. Okay, so what we're going to now do is we're just going to leave everything as default, and then we're going to click Next. From there, we're going to skip the proxy as well. And then we're going to select the 3 here that we said that we were going to install, which was the Application Catalog, Web Service Point, and the Website Point, and then the Fallback Status Point. We're going to click Next. And again, we'll leave everything as default here. Just leave everything as default so far. And organization name will be NP, my company name. Next, we'll go to the summary, and then we'll click Next and then Close once finished. Now again, we can go through some logs and check
which I'm not going to demonstrate in this part because it takes way too long. But again, the links that I've given you in the description should be helpful enough. So that's the main part of installing System Center. And then there's a tiny bit more configuration that you can do, which I'm going to link in the description again with all my notes and the GitHub project files. They're all one-noted, so they can be edited if you need to. So we've gone ahead and ran some configuring, but then again, I've got some other videos that I will link in the description and link you to that you might want to have a look at to finish doing things like that, to finish configuring your setup. I've got, in these videos here, I've got my current branch set up, and then I've got the post-installation basic configurations and things like that. Now finally, once you have got everything installed, this means you're able to play around with SCCM and have a go with deploying software and operating systems. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and if you did enjoy this video, a like rating and a subscription would be kindly appreciated. Anyway guys, thanks for watching again, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye for now.